Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to be talking about the song Echo by Little Glee Monster. So it's our reaction and review, and just in case you're not familiar with the format, as we have to do it unfortunately now on this channel, I'm about to give you the review. So if you want to watch the reaction, click the link in the description below. It will take you to a separate player where you'll be able to watch it, and then you can watch that and then come back to here. So just in case you haven't heard the song, you haven't seen the reaction yet, press pause on this video right now. Giving you a moment, because I'm about to give you the review. Are you ready? Alright, here we go. So, Little Glee Monster. Now this is a group, as I was saying in the reaction, who I had heard about for so long. How can you not hear about Little Glee Monster when you're in Japan? And yet I'd managed to safely swerve actually hearing them. I don't know why. It was just never something that was particularly on my radar. Never something that was particularly... because the funny thing is I had no idea what they looked like. Even if I was seeing their name everywhere on posters and things, they rarely see a picture of them in Japan, which is quite interesting. So I had never really picked up on who Little Glee Monster were beyond the name. And like I said, the name having Glee in it kind of slightly put me off because it just reminded me of that awful TV show. So I went into this with no real idea what I was going to pick up on, but kind of a feeling that it probably was going to be something quite poppy because it was so big, you know, it's names everywhere. It's got to be something that's just charting quite good. Now, this was interesting because this hits me on quite a few levels in that I do think this is a really good song. I do understand that we say this sometimes, we're always honest on this channel. Yeah, it's fair to say this is in no way breaking any new ground. It's nothing that we haven't heard before, and yet it's really well executed and it's really catchy. It's still in my head right now. I'm still going, whoa, 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 whoa. Probably going to get copyrighted just for doing the woes, aren't I? Anyway. So this was a really interesting song on a number of levels. Now, first of all, I have to give a massive, massive shout to the production values. The production values of the music were really, really top notch. It was a very simple song. From a writing standpoint, there wasn't a huge amount going on, but it was one of those cases where I often say simple doesn't always mean bad if you can do the right thing in the right place everywhere. And that's kind of what this managed to nail. I mean, the song was little more than verse, chorus, verse, chorus. There's no real bridge to speak of anywhere in this song. What it really manages to do, though, is it comes in with that heavy hitting beat. You get the very catchy melody from the beginning. Now, the first verse is very little more than just the beat and the vocalist delivering. And it's nice to see each of the singers gives their own thing. I mean, as I often say, this is the first time I ever heard Little Glee Monster, and with a lot of these sorts of groups, it takes me a few songs to really pick up totally on the identity of each singer's voices. So it did sound like in the verses, each singer was getting their own little bit, but it was hard for me to really pick up on how they were standing out. So maybe after a couple more songs, I'd be able to really grab the identity of each of the individual singers. But they were getting their own little bits, and then it went into that chorus, and I was quite surprised because the beat was really kind of dark, and everything was very dark, and I was thinking, oh, is this going to go in an edgy direction? And in fact, it went in a very anthemic direction. And you know what? The chorus, yes, I can see this going both ways depending on what your tastes are. I think if you're not naturally a pop sort of person, I can imagine you going, that chorus was boring. If you're a pop person, that chorus, my words all coming out together and just combining together to make new hybrid words. If you're a pop person, that chorus would probably come across to you more as okay, yeah, maybe not 100% original, but it works. And that's kind of what you're looking for in pop. You're looking for something that gets kind of like an earworm, but not in an irritating way. And I think that's a good earworm. I think it's a good catchy song, good catchy chorus. They all sing together. It, really blasts into a lot of energy in the hook for the song. So that side of it works. And I think what really helps for this is one of the biggest problems with pop sometimes is that whereas rock, where, you're usually looking at the songs all being played by instrumentalists, and therefore there's a lot of pressure to add intricacy and interest to the second verse for a song, sometimes pop can get lazy in this area, which I'm often one of the most staunch defenders of pop music against, people who talk downwards of it, but that is one of its major failings, is often you get weak second verses where they don't really build on what happened in the first verse. And this was an example of doing it right, in that the second verse came in and the basis of what you're getting, it's still that catchy melody, still basically the same ingredients, and yet they completely switched it up. The beat had a lot more production, a lot more little aspects to it. It was much more rhythmic, and the guitar came in to make everything sound a little bit more energetic, and suddenly basically the same thing at the same tempo now felt double time. It felt much more sort of powering ahead. And again, you get some great vocal performances, and before that last chorus, it had a little breakdown and everything. It all kind of just really, really sat in place and worked. Now, from my own personal opinion, Do I think this works? Yes, in a kind of a we're doing the pop formula as best as we can way, it works. And I can understand looking at something like this as only the only song I knowingly have heard of Little Glee Monster. I've probably heard a few other songs without knowing it was them. This is something where I can listen to it and I can say, yeah, that is a good pop song that I wouldn't turn away from hearing again, certainly. Like I say, having the fact that it relies on quite a few familiar pop tropes maybe does work against it a little bit in that it maybe doesn't quite grab its own identity as much as it could do, and yet it is catchy enough that I think it manages to just about surface above sounding a little bit similar to other songs of a similar ilk. What really helps it is also that they, like I say, they used a very Western style of doing the final chorus vocal harmonies, in that, you know, often with a lot of Japanese groups, and I think this is kind of true of a lot of Asian groups in general, the last chorus, when you have those big vocal harmonies, they're usually very sort of arranged, where it will be either very call and answer or someone will be singing different melodies over the top. This had that sort of thing where you have like one or two singers who's just expressing one particular line. So we'll just go, you know, someone will be singing normally and then one other person will be going, well, yeah, whatever. Over the top, just giving that one little line of oh yeah. I really can't do vocal impersonations, but there's always that one person who sounds like really excited in the arrangement and sing it to the top of their voice. It kind of had that. That's a very Western thing. Oh man, I need to think of a better way of describing that. Go back and listen, and I'm sure you won't know what I was talking about at all. And it was nice to hear, you know, that thing where just a couple of singers were really sort of blasting a couple of lines and really adding that higher level to it. So there was a real fun sense that the song was being sort of played to the maximum, that they were trying to extract everything out of a relatively simple formula that we've heard before, and at the same time that they were doing it with a knowingly very catchy chorus that people can sing along to. The video, I've got to admit, for a video that had so many credits at the end, I thought it was relatively much for muchness. I think it was kind of what the video was kind of one of those things where you can say, well, yeah, again, you know, it didn't look like a vast amount of money had gone into that, if I'm honest with you. A vast amount of lighting, perhaps. Vast amount of money, no. And I do feel sorry for the guy who, as far as I was aware, unless I missed something, his entire role was just to stand there holding a flag and just look as straight as he could. I think it was nice. I think it worked. I think it was good. I think on its own, if this was the only song I ever heard by Little Glee Monster, I think it would be hard for me to really remember them. You know, I would need to hear more to really understand their identity. Like I say, hopefully with more songs I'm going to get to hear more of whose voice sounds like what, you know, really start to pick apart the members and their own contributions to the songs, as well as hearing hopefully a little bit more of the range that they deliver. But certainly I can see and I can appreciate why they are as well publicised and assumedly as famous and popular as they are indeed. I think that when it comes to carrying an anthemic pop song, they kind of nailed it here. So yeah, great start. Looking forward to a little bit more of Little Glee Monster. Nearly mixed my words again there, didn't I? But until then, as always, you know how it works on this channel. If you're new, I'll tell you anyway. So basically, this is all about objective, subjective opinions. Get into the comments. Tell us what you think, whether you know this song or don't, whether you like it, whether you don't. Either way, I want to hear opinions so we can have a good conversation on there. If you want to follow the conversation more, there's a link in the description to our Discord, where we're rabbiting about Japanese music all the time, as well as our Reddit, which is a great place to suggest new songs, as well as get involved in hopefully starting some new interesting little threads and subjects that people can get involved in there. There's some good ones going on that, so feel free to join and add a little bit more to that conversation too. There's our Patreon for our wonderful Patreon supporters. How much we love you for keeping us alive despite us having to change a channel a couple of months ago. You know, just a big thank you to everyone. Thank you for making it to the end of this video as well. And so until I see you hopefully very soon on my next video, for now, ciao ciao.